Morning, it is day 3. So in part 1 you saw the cars all put together. We're ahead of schedule on the mapping, but we've got boost control issues. So first job of the day is to get in there and change this boost control solenoid out for when we know that works off the old turbo, which we're just getting off now. And go from there really. They should fit. They're the same sort of Beerberg solenoid, so it should go straight on. For those who don't know, this is a boost control solenoid. They are a pulsing device. So when you apply current, they switch from connecting the common port, which is the top one, to the normally open when it's off, and to the normally closed when it's on. And basically, by pulsing it on and off really fast and varying the amount of time that you can spend being open and closed, you can change the pressures that go through the different vacuum lines to different parts of the wastegate, depending how you plumb it up. We suspect that this valve is not functioning at all and it's just sitting there, and the air's just bypassing the normally open position all the time. So we're going to change it out and see what happens. So one of the advantages over an EFR over most turbos is they come with a built-in reset valve and also a mounted boost control solenoid on the side of them. One of the disadvantages of the EFR is they come with a mounted boost control solenoid, which means once you fitted your kit together, you can't really easily get to it. You know, all we want to do is undo a plug and undo 2 tiny little torque bits, and it's alright, hit the floor, you're good. Getting your hand in there to undo 2 bolts makes like you've never done a bolt before in your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's coming away.
Cool. So this is why we didn't do it hot yesterday, because now imagine your hand on that hot wastegate and this hot water pipe and that radiator all burning yourself while you're trying to do that. This is why we left it overnight. But let's hope this is what fixes it. We know this solenoid worked on your old turbo.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll change it over anyway and hope this fixes it, and if not, further investigations. We've checked all the vacuum lines again, there's no leaks. Check the wastegates are all tight and stuff, there's nothing wrong with them. Wiggle. How about now? Can you get to it now?
It should be right.
Dismantle half the car to undo 2 bolts. Brilliant. Yeah, it's free now.
Oh, just hold up. There you go.
There you go. Right. Pass it up. I'm going to drop it. There we are. Well, that was a pig. Solenoid's now fitted. Just got to plumb the lines up, making sure you don't mix up the lines, because you have a very specific job. The one in your hand now,
Yeah.
that one is the common, which goes on the one sticking outwards here.
The one at the side?
Yep.
Alright.
Goes on the top one, which is the normally open. That was a pain. I hope you have to do that every time ever again, do you?
Definitely not.
So let's just double check we've got the lines. So that one to the intake, which is normally open. Common is this one here, off to the top of the wastegates, and then the bottom of the wastegates is off to the boost source, and the boost source also goes into normally closed on the solenoid. Cool. Just doing our nut and bolt check, and we found a small tiny dribble of oil coming out the oil return from the turbo. We had a suspicion that it would do this, so I'm just going to give it a nip up and see if we can sort that out before we get going again. Lovely. Let's warm her up. So we've just run the car up. It turns out it was a faulty boost control solenoid. We've just rerun all the runs from last night on the 4 maps on the first file. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40% duty, and you can see that the boost now has increased above the gate pressure. and you can see the power increases as we increase boost. So we're just going to put another file on there now which says 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe some intervals of 5 in between depending how it responds, and then we should be up to high power. Let's see what we get now. Okay, so we've tried some higher boost duties now. We've got about 1.3 bar touching 1.9 bar. A couple of things to note about this graph. You can see how the power is arcing right over here. There's two reasons for this. One, compared to the last car I did this turbo on, at that level of boost, it was using an EDS inlet versus a class, and we already know that this car's got 10% less volumetric efficiency. So we already expected 10% less power straight away. Yeah. Also on the VE side, because it's not screamers as plumbacks, the 3-inch exhaust has to take all the exhaust gas from the turbine plus what's being dumped out the wastegates. When you use screamers, it's like having a larger exhaust, because the 3-inch exhaust only has to deal with what's in the turbine housing coming out the turbo, not the entire engine exhaust flow. So that's the flow side of it. There's definitely less airflow. The second side of it is 97 RON fuel. We're just not getting it. You know, we had the same thing on this car when we did the hybrid turbo years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, it was just knocking.
Just knocking all the time. You just had no timing in it. So I think really the highest will go probably on a 97 RON only map will probably be around the sort of 360, 370 mark, and keep the boost probably around the 1.5, 1.6 bar with some relatively low timing. Mm-hmm. We're now going to move on to putting some water meth in with the higher boost levels, and we should be able to get some of this power back we're losing from the lack of octane. However, I think if this car's going to make 500 horsepower, it needs one of two things: either an EDS inlet, or it's going to need to go screamer, one of the two, or 3.5 exhaust work, for example.
Yeah.
But whenever a power curve starts flattening like this and airflow starts becoming flat, you're just not going to get any more. You can try more boost, but you can see how it leans over earlier and earlier and earlier the more you build up. So if we went big boost like 2.2 bar, you'd probably start getting into high exhaust pressures and just stop gaining power. So you might get like 420 if you really pushed it, but I think we'll leave it backed off a bit on 97 RON, and then see what we can do with the water meth to boost the octane.
Yep.
And we should be able to get the octane up to about probably around 100 octane, 100 RON. And then we get the time back in it, and that time back in it will
Might bring the power
bring up
back.
the thermal efficiency of the engine and extract more power from what you burn. So you've got to get enough in there to burn, and also you've got to extract it efficiently to get the power. So that's where we're at right now. We've done a few checks over the car, everything seems good. Just going to flash some more files and test some more things, and we'll be on to the next stage soon. Right, so what we're going to do is just test maps 1 and 2. We've set map 1 as a really low boost. There's absolutely no timing in it. It should be safe for like 95 RON if you get stuck. And then we're setting up map 2 to be slightly higher boost, a little bit more timing. That means sort of your 97 RON no meth map. We're just going to check these before we turn the meth on. But this is the benefit of having the Rabbid ROM software, is you can literally come in the car and just click the button up and down and switch between them. So let's test the map 1 first. Make sure the traction control's off. Check we're in map 1. Yep. So start recording. That's your low setting, and about 290 foot-pounds. So a nice low power setting. Let's just save that. So this will be map 1. And this is recording. Then what we do is we switch into map 2. We'll record again. Let's just see what we're going to get now. That's 1.7, 1.75 bars, something like that. Pretty much clean and not just a smidgen you can pull out. But other than that, that's a nice clean run. So what we'll do now is we'll start working on maps 3 and 4, which we mapped for meth. So we need to plug the water meth controller back in, lean the air fuel ratios of map 3 and 4 out, and then see what we get with that. We'll probably start with map 2's boost level, add some meth in, add some timing to make map 3 sort of similar sort of boost, maybe a little tiny bit more boost, make 400, slow 400, and then map 4 we'll go balls out and see how much boost we can make until it stops making more flow, and how much timing it will take with the meth, and just see what we get. I have a feeling we won't get 500 brake on this setup as it is. That's not to say there aren't changes you can make, like the EDS inlet, possibly looking at streamers or a larger exhaust. Downpipe at least, maybe even full exhaust. But the airflow readings we had from earlier, we're making 410. The airflow calculations are saying you get the potential for 450.
Yeah.
And so with meth, you should be able to get back to that 450. If we get beyond 450, we have to flow more air. So that depends if we go even higher in the boost than 1.9 bar, whether the airflow of the engine increases or whether the airflow stays the same, or even can decrease. Because the one thing, if you run tons and tons of boost, your exhaust manifold pressure will overtake the inlet manifold pressure, and what happens is you start reducing flow through the engine. So 1.9 bar, you know, might be fine. To do more might be the max. We'll have to see. All right. Okay, so the meth control is connected up. We've dialed the meth down to its lowest settings because we've got two nozzles in this car. We put one large and one medium nozzle in it, so we can put quite a lot of meth through it. So we've got to start just on the lowest setting and then dial it in to richen up the mixture if we need to. I'm just going to run it on map 1 a few times over just to get the meth system purged. It has been disconnected and it hasn't been used so far, so just going to see what happens with it. You'll see the mixture hopefully richening up. That's 20 horsepower more already on that one as it is. Get a couple of runs through and see what happens. So we've been doing a few pulls. With the water meth, we've basically eliminated all the knock we had on 97. We're slowly building all the timing back in. We're currently sitting around, where are we, total run, airflow. EFR, V10, 4. So your airflow's up here somewhere around enough airflow to make sort of 450. We're slowly getting the time back, but it's still finding the graph is going very flat and arcing over. So I think, you know, good time in this car, 450 is probably a lot as it is.
Yeah.
We're at 2 bar, and we had more duty. We should have gone sort of 2.1, 2.2 bar. You've got less power, so there's no more airflow to be had through this engine as it is. So all we need to do is creep up on the timing just to try and get to that point where it's optimal. Even if it stops gaining, we hit knocker to back it out again. See if we can take that arcing over and sort of carry it up a bit just to get that horsepower. Because of the classic inlet and the setup on it, it's a very torquey car. I mean, it spools about 1000 RPM earlier than the other car we did on this turbo. So it's a torquey monster, this one. Just struggles top end. So we'll see how we get on, and we'll do a few more pulls. High power map, extra timing. I think this will be a lot less. Will be. So our best result so far has been 442. Having played with higher boost settings and played with timing, I think this is basically all we're going to get. The 97 RON fuel compared to Shell V-Power, which is 99, is a humongous difference in the fuel's performance. With meth, we managed to gain back about 30 horsepower because we were sitting around the sort of 405 horsepower and 97 RON. So methanol has given us an extra 30 horsepower at 2 bar of boost. The car's producing loads and loads of torque, but it's definitely a restriction top end, hence the power, rather than climbing with the revs, it just goes flat, and that's a sign of a restriction. It spools well, for the size of the turbo. Spool's about 1,000 RPMs better than the other one, but produces about 90 horsepower less. So yeah, some things to change. We're thinking of looking at the inlet manifold, change that from a class and over to an EDS. May well see a decent amount of power gain top end, because it's just the breathing top end that's lacking, which is what gives you the horsepower figure. If you can increase your VE by 10% top end compared to the other car on the same turbo, then that's 10% more airflow. 10% more airflow on 440, well, that's another 44 horsepower on top, which suddenly brings you up to just shy of 500, which would be much closer to the target you want.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there for tonight. We've done 4 power levels. We scrapped the 95 ROM map in the end because we thought, well, you're never going to use it. So we've gone from power levels, what we get, 380, 400, 420, and then 440 as switchable settings. So it's more a case of, you know, slightly less power for better traction on damper days and things, and higher power when you want to get the most out of it. But the car's held up well. We had to change the auxiliary belt on our AC delete. We couldn't get the size belt we wanted. We got one that was like 5mm too long, and then we also had one that was 5mm too short. So we tried the 5mm too long originally. It felt all right, but it came off after like, I don't know, what was it, 20 runs or so. So we went for the slightly shorter one, and with a bit of stretching got it on there until Steve can get a proper bracket to adjust his alternate position. But yeah, other than that, the car's performing well. Yeah. It's time for take it out for a drive. Try to feed into it gently. Let's try traction on.
Just wants to pull it across.
Try traction on. Try that. Alright, try clutch in. Try like that. 2. That's like 400. So it's a bit damp for full power. Yeah, go straight ahead. That hooks up nice. Traction control can manage that. 4th gear, try again. Nice. That's like map 2.
That's map 2?
That's not even like map 3 or 4. You wait till a dry day and you go out in map 4.
Yeah, it's too wet for map 4, yeah, definitely. It's just slumpy now.
Yeah. So the road test's a bit rained off, but in the short time you tried it on one of the lower power settings, how's it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. It feels a lot, probably more responsive than the old setup.
Yeah. Because what you had before was a Turbodynamic Stage 3, which I believe is actually a K24 setup and also a larger exhaust wheel.
Yeah. It was kind of laggy. It might have been 4.5 before you read your
Yeah. So this is going to be my argument. A lot of hybrid setups on the VXRs is that you gain a lot of lag. You know, sometimes 1,000, 2,000 RPMs of the lag compared to a stock setup.
Yeah.
But you only get maybe 10, 15 horsepower more than a good KO4.
Yeah.
So how would you rate like the drivability of this setup?
It actually feels better.
Yeah.